Hey guys, it's Oberstadt. So today I'm going to be doing a chit chat, get ready with me. I'm going to be discussing some things that I would actually like to see YouTubers share while I do my makeup. And I've already done my hair. I did French braid it, and it is meant to be down like this. My outfit is actually in the dryer because I went to put it on, and needless to say, it is covered in cat hair. I don't know how in a closed closet cat hair just seems to work its way through everything. So it's decat hairing right now, and as soon as I hear the dryer beep, I'll go get it and put it on. So just in case there's an outfit change in the middle, you understand why. So I'm going to be working with the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette. I've had this palette for almost a month now. I have done swatch videos on this. I've done comparison swatch videos with the James Charles palette as well. And believe me when I say there are so many shades in here that are almost identical shades to the James Charles palette. It's not even funny. This is 20, that one was 39. This one is easier to work with. Anyways, so I'm going to be working with this palette today. I'm going to be doing all of my base products and everything on camera as well as an eye look. And then I will probably speed some parts of it up. I have my earbuds here. I'm going to be listening to music as well. So hopefully this is helpful. And if you like it, then let me know. I will try and do more of these that are kind of like a chit chat, get ready with me kind of style while I discuss some of the topics that I'm curious about that I've talked about in live streams and whatnot. So hopefully you enjoy. I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, so first I'm going to start off with all of my base products, everything that I use on my face before I get started. I am moisturized and everything, and I do have to go out. I have a new bank account, and it's an actual physical bank. I'm going to be really sad when this is gone. This is almost slap empty. This is a Pure Lease Daily Lip Nourisher with mango and shea butter. I love this thing. I've been using it for my March Shop My Stash, and I really enjoy it. So I won't talk about all the products that I'm using. I will make sure that they're all linked down below just in case you have any questions about what I'm using. So I set up a brand new bank because I didn't think I could get one because I had one with a local credit union and they closed my account for inactivity. There was $11 left in the account, but because I wasn't using my debit card or making deposits or withdrawals, they closed my account and I don't know where the money went. I've tried contacting them. I actually had some Square deposits go into that account and I don't know where the money is. It was quite a bit of money for them to just keep it. So I honestly don't know what happened. So I have to physically go to the local branch and be like, yo, where's my money? Because I'm curious as to what happened to the money that was in my account, because it didn't disappear, and I hadn't made any purchases or anything from that account in since last April. So I don't know where the money went or what they could have done with it. So I have to go to the bank today to get that sorted out. I have to close the Walmart money card that I opened up so I could get my first YouTube check. I've been on YouTube for 5 years now, and I just earned enough money to get my first $100 payout. So I was excited about that, but I didn't have an account that it could go into. So I opened up a Walmart money card. It's through the Green Dot Bank. And then the debit card thing that they sent me, I couldn't use it to place my order for my BH Cosmetics stuff. I had to end up signing up for Amazon Pay in order to get the card to work because it doesn't act like a Visa. It acts like a debit card. And everywhere I tried to use it, it kept saying that this card has been declined, or this card isn't accepted here, or try a different card. And I was getting super frustrated. So I went down to one of the other local banks that's a privately owned bank. It used to be the Green Bank or something like that, where all of their banks and whatnot are run on solar energy. And they've now been bought out by another company, or a lot of their banks have been bought out by other companies. So I set up an account with them a couple of weeks ago, and my debit card finally came in the mail, and the address on the debit card mail folder was wrong. And I tried to log into my bank account, and because they had set me up for, it's all like paperless. So I went to use the website to log into my bank, and needless to say, it had like, it wanted me to like verify who I was, where it wanted to like send me information via a text or a phone call in order to like punch in some 6-digit code. So I don't know what happened there, but the numbers that were on the screen, neither of which were mine. And then yesterday when I tried to log into the bank, it wanted me to verify who I was yet again. And the numbers that came up were 2 different numbers from the first time, and neither of them are mine. Now, all it shows is like the last 4 digits of the phone number, so I don't even know what the whole phone number is. But the second time it asked me to like verify the phone information, the last 4 digits of the 2 numbers that came up looked awfully familiar, like a number that I would have had years and years ago. I'm talking like early 20s. So I'm wondering if somehow they have, like, I've never used this bank before. I've never been associated with this bank before. I don't know how they would have gotten these numbers, but I wonder if it's like pulling numbers off like my credit report from like 2 decades ago. I'm honestly kind of at a loss right now for why it's pulling in all this odd information. So I got to go get that taken care of. So I've got 3 banking type matters that I've got to go take care of today. So that's going to be fun. So I figured instead of doing like one eye with one look and one eye with something completely different, I would try and do like a cohesive look. Because usually I actually enjoy doing one eye with one look and one eye that is, different. And I do go out in public like that. I know some other YouTubers, when they do like that, they'll do makeup for YouTube, but they won't wear it out in public. I'm like, dude, if I'm going to take the time to use products on my face, I'm going to wear it in public. I'm not ashamed about, what I'm using or what I look like. So, I mean, why would you put product, take the time to put product on your face and then not wear it in public? And yes, I know this is too dark, but it was out, and I don't feel like digging another one out. So that's kind of where I am with that. If I do like a crazy makeup look, I'll wear it in public. I have no shame when it comes to that. But then again, I don't really care what people think about me. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, that's your fault. That ain't mine. I mean, we all have things that we like and dislike about ourselves. And I was watching Avid Diva's video this morning about other people's opinions don't matter, or other people's opinions of you don't matter. And she's so right about that. What somebody else thinks of me as a person really isn't, number 1, my fault. And 2, it's not really my business what somebody thinks about me, because it's their opinion. I mean, we are all entitled to our opinions for a reason, and we all have our own opinions for a reason. So I thought that was actually kind of a really good point that she made in her video. Because a lot of people, they get butthurt about a lot of stuff, and I've got a couple of things bothering me right now, but, just because of somebody else's actions or somebody else's opinion, it doesn't always have to be something that you get offended by. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. So I guess I will actually talk about the subjects that I wanted to discuss today, which are things I would like YouTubers to share. And I know some YouTubers share more information than others. Some are like, I don't know if they're like ashamed of their past or ashamed of things that they have done in their past. I'm not quite sure if that is where some of this falls, or if it's just simply that they like to be private about certain things. But like, the first thing on my list is past jobs. So what they used to do, what kind of jobs they've held, whether or not they, and some of these YouTubers that I watch, they're like in their young 20s, mid 20s,
all the way up to their like 60s. And I know a couple of YouTubers have talked about what they've done in their like past jobs. Like I know Raw Beauty Christie talks about working as like an animal tech or a vet tech and working with like rehabbed animals. But like a lot of the other YouTubers and stuff that I watch, you have no idea what they've done. You don't know what their background is, especially like these beauty YouTubers. A lot of them claim to be like makeup artists and all they did was like work at Sephora or Ulta or MAC. And they don't have like the education like I do, where I actually physically went to school and learned a trade and had to take a state board and get certified and all that kind of stuff. They didn't do any of that. They just kind of worked at a store that sold makeup, and now they're saying that they're makeup artists. And I understand some of these like stores do like training for certain things, but there is a big difference between learning the muscle structure, facial features, bones of the face, and then learning how to work with those versus, okay, well, put this makeup item here, but don't put it here, and you know, that kind of thing. There are so many different things that go into especially the face, the different bones that you need to know. Like I have a really high cheekbone, it's very predominant, and like I've got this big hollow space in my face where, you know, this is where like people would put bronzer, and some people were like, well, you should only put bronzer right up underneath your cheekbone. But if I put bronzer, I usually put bronzer right here in like the hollow spot, but I have had people tell me I need to put bronzer up here, and I don't know about you, but that's too close to my eye to stick bronzer. I stick blush here and then work it back, and I stick bronzer starting here and then bring it about halfway forward, and then I just highlight the whole thing. I like my highlight. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm always curious to see what some other YouTubers have done for like past work or jobs, or if they've worked at all. Some YouTubers haven't ever had a job, and I worked at the age of 14. So I know I've had a bunch of different types of jobs, and I'm always curious to see into the like lives of the people that I watch. So the next two things kind of like go hand in hand. I have house/living spaces. Like I know some people they live with family, like family members, or like they're still living with their parents depending on their age. Some people have apartments, some people have houses, that kind of thing. Some people live in like condos or duplexes. I'm like curious to see like what kind of situation how they live. I know some YouTubers, like I said, they talk about that kind of stuff, but a lot don't. And I'm not like talking that I want to know where somebody specifically lives, because you know that, again, that you've got privacy issues there. But I am like, I've always been like curious to know, you know, what kind of like living situation they have. I know I live with my dad. I moved back in with him right after my divorce after I got out of jail in February of 2012. I got out of jail for when they dropped, you know, when the state dropped the charges against me. And then I moved in with my dad in March of that year, as I stayed with some friends for a few weeks until my dad got rid of one of the creepy guys that was living here. And I mean, he was like super creepy. So when he finally got him to move out, I was able to move in. I'm tired of listening to ads, so I keep taking my earbuds out. So I know I live with him, and had I not been living here when my dad had his car accident in 2013, I think my dad would have been a lot worse off, and he probably would still be in a wheelchair today had I not been living here. Just for the simple fact of I've lived with living in a wheelchair, and I know what it's like. I know what it takes to get around in them, what happens when you fall out of one, how to drag yourself in and out of them, how to shower with, you know, being in a wheelchair, use the toilet, get dressed, all that kind of stuff. I'm familiar with all that stuff, and had I not been here for my dad when he had his accident, I don't know how well he would have done on his own. So even if I could afford to move out, would I don't know. If I had enough money to rent an apartment, I've considered it, you know, even if like I can find a job that will hire me and I start making enough money to move out, I honestly don't know if I would leave the house and leave my dad, you know, here by himself. Now, granted, he's not completely alone because my brother lives here now. He moved back in a couple of years ago after we think he got fired from the trucking company that he worked for. And he started doing a lot of like illegal shit when he was on the road as a truck driver. So we think that they had just had enough of his garbage and they just let him go. At least that's what Dad and I think. And I don't know. My brother is a couple years older than me, so we don't know what all goes on in his head because, like, you know, he doesn't talk to me. For those that know me and my situation, they know that my brother absolutely ignores the piss out of me. He doesn't give me the time of day. You know, so it is what it is. The other thing that kind of like goes into the whole living situation thing is where they live now versus where they grew up. Like, I'm living in the house that my parents bought when I was 16. And I know some YouTubers, like Nicole Concilio, I think is from New York, and she moved out west, and now she's living in LA area. So I know that is, I don't know, to me that would be like a huge like culture shock to move away from everything that I know and love and the weather and all that kind of stuff. But I was born and raised here in Florida, in Central Florida. My parents were born and raised here. So it's just one of those things. It's kind of like I was born here. I grew up here. I like it here, especially with the temperatures and stuff that we get. I have a hard time dealing with cold weather. And right now it's kind of chilly out, hence the long sleeves over the t-shirt. But you know, I don't know how I would fare moving across the country away from everything that I know, away from all of the locations where I can drive home with my eyes closed or half asleep and know I'm going to get home because I've been doing it so long, my body knows where to go. I don't know if you guys have ever fallen asleep behind the wheel and driven yourself home. I have. It's scary. Especially when you get home and you're like in the driveway for a while and your parents come out and they're like, they wake you up because you're sitting in the driveway with the car running and you're asleep and like completely gone to the world, passed out, and they're scared to death because they have no idea how you drove yourself home, and neither do you. So it is one of those things that is kind of like scary, but I would like to see more of the country. I would like to travel more, but I honestly don't know if I could like move away from Florida. Plus, I like the scenery here. I like the way the foliage is, and I like where I live. I like how quiet it is here. Granted, the people kind of suck. You've got a lot of like racists and bigots that live here in this area that just because somebody's got a better tan than somebody else, they need to be nasty to them. And I've never understood that. And I probably will never understand that. The shirt that I'm wearing is like a gray with pink stripes. So I think I'm going to use some of the pinks in this palette. But I don't know. I think moving across country would be rather intimidating and scary, especially for me. But I know some people that stuff just doesn't bother them. So they can easily pick up and leave and have no ties to where they're at or where they're from, and easily just pick up and relocate without any qualms. Okay, the next subject that is on my list is education. I have heard some YouTubers talk about, oh, well, I barely graduated high school. Some have like, I was checking to see if the ads were gone. Some have some college experience, some have like trade school experience. I have all of the above, to be honest. Some people even come from like other countries. Some of the YouTubers that I watch, they're from other countries. So I know that in some countries, you know, you get your grade school, what we would have here, which is grade school and middle school and high school. And then they get like a couple of years of university, AKA college, that's kind of all like rolled into their high school experience, which I think is cool. But I've always wondered, you know, what education backgrounds some of these YouTubers have, and whether or not they've got like formal training in certain things. And I don't know, I've always just been curious about stuff like that. Is that a shimmer? Probably is. Trying to use a matte shade, and I think the shade I was eyeballing was a shimmer shade, so I'm gonna go with the shade above it. But you know, I have a lot of college education. When my body started to break a few years ago, I was like, okay, well, what can I do sitting in a wheelchair all day and be productive with my time, and then possibly be able to work after I finish my degree? So I went to school and ended up getting I started off with a paralegal degree, and I did some like legal transcription, and I had done legal transcription before, but I did some legal transcription online for my mom for quite a while. There's a court reporter that she used to work with down in Orlando that works for the U.S. military now because her husband's in the Air Force, and so she would get transcripts of stuff from Belgium, which is where her husband is stationed, and I would, you know, transcribe that kind of stuff and then email everything back to her. So everything was an electronic file. So I did that for a while, and then I went on to I waited, you know, like a year, and then I went on and got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice because I was thinking about going for law. And I had a couple of friends that were lawyers, and one of them I had just helped to get elected as a judge. I worked on his campaign trails, and so I was looking at doing, like, I was pre-law, I was studying for the LSATs and all that kind of fun stuff. And hell if I can remember half the stuff that I studied back then, because it's kind of all a blur. So I started my bachelor's degree, and then some stuff happened with my ex-husband, and he got violent and attacked my daughter and me, and I tried to protect my kids, and I ended up in jail because when the cops broke into the house, I was the only one home, so they arrested me, and I spent almost 2 years in jail until I finally saw a judge, and the charges were dropped, except for because I'm an honest person. I told the judge everything that happened, and I ended up with a misdemeanor battery charge because I admitted in open court to taking a pair of scissors to an inanimate t-shirt. Nobody was wearing it. I bought it myself, but because I had given it to my ex-husband and it was his favorite shirt, I ended up with a misdemeanor battery charge over it. And I've had people ask me to do like a story time type video on what happened with my arrest, and how long I was in, and what it was like in jail, and that kind of thing. Because for somebody that already had a paralegal degree and had about 75% of her bachelor's degree in criminal justice like already done, to end up in jail with a bunch of people that you always had thought, oh well, you know, people that go to jail are just there because they're bad people. That ain't always true. There are people that are in jail just because the system is shit and they arrest the wrong person, or the charges are asinine, that kind of thing. So I took a detour from my education until I got back out, and then when I got out, I ended up going back and finishing my bachelor's degree, but then I had 2 misdemeanor batteries on my record, and nobody would hire me. That, and I was still dealing with health problems, so that kind of sucked. But, you know, I then took 6 months off after I got my bachelor's degree, and I couldn't find a job, so I went on and got my master's degree, or 2. So that's something that I've always been curious about with other YouTubers. You know, do they have any like education? What kind of education do they have? That kind of thing. Because I'm curious. I guess it's because I'm kind of like a nosy person and I have no life of my own. So I'm like interested in everybody else. The last thing that I have on my list for, you know, like things I wish YouTubers would discuss or talk about is like their filming setup and the equipment that they use. I know some YouTubers talk about this stuff, but a lot of them don't. It's kind of like one of those like passe kind of things where they don't want people to know what they're using. They don't want people to like be able to like, I don't know, maybe it's like they don't want somebody to like recreate their setup or to know how they're recording or what they're recording on. And yes, I know I'm using a sponge tip applicator, but it was on the other side of this thing that I'm using to apply the concealer, so screw it. I will go back over it with a brush. And it's not that great either because it keeps wanting to bend. I just wanted to like put color on that while it was there, while it was still damp. I don't know. I'm like curious about a lot of things. I'm one of those people that likes to learn a new thing every day, and I don't feel like I've had a productive day if I haven't learned at least one thing new. I like learning new things because it makes me feel kind of alive, I guess, because I am learning different things or different techniques or different whatever it is that I'm learning. Screw this brush, man. That thing sucks. Let me know if you guys are like curious like I am about some of these topics, because just to know I'm not alone in this curiosity, I guess you could say. Not like it would like make me feel better, but it would just make me feel like I'm not a complete weirdo. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am a weirdo. I do all kinds of strange things that most people wouldn't expect, or I know strange things that most people wouldn't expect. But I mean, don't we all have something strange about ourselves that either nobody knows or that just makes us different from other people? I'm mixing like this red and this orange shade. It's not really like a red. It's like a darker orange. Oh, and I just talked to my dad last night about this, about the new Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette. I might be able to pick that up. I kind of hope I can, because I'm like interested in getting it. Not just because it's like a Jeffree Star product, but I don't know, I've always been drawn to like blue eyeshadows, and I really enjoy blue eyeshadows. Now I know it's kind of like one of those things that it's like passe. I shouldn't like blue eyeshadows because I have blue eyes. But when has that ever stopped me from doing something? Just because it's one of those, oh, well, you shouldn't do this because of X, Y, and Z. You know what? That just makes me 10 times more likely to go and do it. Tell me something that I can't do or that I shouldn't do. Probably the worst thing you could ever do. Or say, oh, well, you can't do that because you're not good at it. Or you can't do this because of your age. Or you can't do that because of your health. I'm one of those people, I'm like, watch me. Just for the simple fact that I want to prove myself wrong. Not really to prove anybody else wrong, but literally to prove to myself that I can do whatever it is that they're saying I can't. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Alrighty then. Got attacked by a spoolie. Okay, I'm back. I'm dressed. Well, for the most part, I still have shoes and socks to put on, and a lip color. Now, I tried these lashes on. Somebody I used to be friends with gave me these lashes, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about them. Not only is the band a lot wider than I'm used to, but the way that the lashes are positioned on the band, instead of them like going out and then curling up, they go straight up. So these are like really extreme lashes for me. I've never worn anything so big, and I don't know how I feel about them. They like completely overtake my look, and in the process of putting them on, I ended up getting black liner in the orange shade on this eye. So I tried to fix it. It won't go anywhere. Even if I tried to put a drop of water on it, I don't think it would go anywhere. So it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and put on a lip color. This is in Varnished Rosewood. This is the L'Oreal Color Riche. Because my eyes are pretty bold. This might be a little bit too mauve. All right, I think I'm gonna leave that there. Let me grab the glossy garnet, or not the glossy garnet, the glossy fawn. Yeah, glossy fawn. I love how these all like blend together super well. How moisturizing they are, and how all the colors are like, I like all the colors. I just want that little bit of mauve in the center. I fought with this eyelash the most, and I think there's lash glue in the tip of it. But all in all, other than fighting with the lashes the longest, and that one looks like it's like starting to come up right there, I am not going to mess with them anymore. I am about ready to rip them off. But I'm already ready to go. Everything else seems basically done. I'm not going to take the time and destroy my makeup. So I'm going to go ahead and come closer so you can see it. But other than that, this is my finished look. I am just going out to the bank. I do have another shirt to put on over this, which is right here. It's like gray with pink pinstriping. So I will be putting that on over this. It'll go over the skirt and everything. This is an old skirt. I've had it forever. It's like a 6 petite. It's like cutting me in half. But then again, I also have this ribbed shirt tucked into it, so it's a little bit thicker than normal. And it's like, I don't know, I don't like the way it's looking. I might just untuck it. But anyways, I'm Rebecca Oberstadt. Hopefully you like this kind of like chit chat, get ready with me, discussing things that I would like to know, or I would like YouTubers to share. And you know, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave them down below. I don't mind talking about anything in my life. I'm pretty open about everything. I don't think there's any one topic that I wouldn't discuss. So there's that. Anyways, I will see you guys in another video. Hopefully you have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye.